On this day in 1215, King John of England affixed his seal to the Magna Carta, which is Latin for the Great Charter. It guaranteed the king would respect feudal rights and privileges. It is considered the founding document of English law and civil liberties and was an inspiration for the Constitution of the United States. 800 years have passed since being first issued, and today, Queen Elizabeth led celebrations commemorating its sealing and its influence in promoting freedom and democracy for the better part of a millennium. Quite a lot of times we look back on the Constitution and other documents and we say that this is the founding of what this country is. However, the Magna Carta was many years before that. It's what we use to this day. It's worth noting again. Rock on, true believers. Thanks so much for joining us. See you Tuesday, right back here on the only show that questions everything. This is MidPoint.
800 years ago, on this day, King John put his seal to a document that would change the world. We talk about the law of the land, and this is the very land where that law and the rights that flow from it took root. The limits of executive power, guaranteed access to justice, the belief that there should be something called the rule of law, that there shouldn't be imprisonment without trial. Magna Carta introduced the idea that we should write these things down and live by them.
This may look like a plain, unassuming piece of parchment, but it's actually one of the most famous documents in the world. Magna Carta, meaning the Great Charter, has inspired people across the centuries, from Thomas Jefferson to Mahatma Gandhi. King John had imposed heavy taxes on his barons in order to pay for his expensive foreign wars. If they refused to pay, he punished them severely or seized their property. The barons demanded that King John obey the law. When he refused, they captured London and John was forced to negotiate.
The barons present the king with a document. 63 rules have been written down on parchment. This will become one of the most important and famous documents in history. People will call it the Great Charter, Magna Carta.
Force widows to marry against their will.
Agreed.
You will not raise taxes without the agreement of the barons.
Agreed.
No free man can be imprisoned without being charged.
Agreed.
Every man has the right to a fair trial.
Agreed.
And 25 barons will watch you carefully to make sure that you obey these rules.
Agreed.
Magna Carta was granted in 1215 and established for the first time that everyone, even the king, had to obey the law. When Magna Carta was printed for the first time, it became the first law that all English lawyers studied. But many people didn't realize its significance. Shakespeare wrote a play about King John in which he failed to mention Magna Carta.
What happened in these meadows 8 centuries ago is as relevant today as it was then. And that relevance extends far beyond Britain.
The Magna Carta contains 63 articles, most of which dealt directly with the rights of the barons during the 13th century. A few articles were so influential that they became fundamental necessities to our founding fathers when planning our United States Constitution almost 500 years later. Article 39 stated, "No free man shall be arrested or imprisoned except by the lawful judgment of his equals and according to the law of the land." This article was later amended to include a trial by jury for everyone.
While the hands that wrote the Magna Carta have long been stilled, the principles they carved out of the struggles of their day, of the struggles of the human condition, live on. Even today, America continues to pursue these goals. We are engaged in initiatives to promote trust and understanding between law enforcement officers and the communities we serve. We are working with partners in the United States and around the world to pursue those who would deny human dignity.